Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and I am so curious who this jury is in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. So I'm so excited to have Rob from Law and Lumber here to break it down with us. Rob, my God, so many people, they still keep sending me your video because like, you got to talk about this video. You got to talk about this video. I figured once Camille brought it up in the actual trial itself, they might stop, but they haven't. But my God, before we even get to this gossip and scoop, these exclusives from Rob, before we even get there, I got to plug the channel and let everybody know. Make sure you go support his new channel. We talked about this on the live, Rob. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but I was like, this is when a perfect YouTube channel is born. A guy who puts his two loves together on a lark, and it blows up, and then suddenly everyone connects and loves and just wants to stay there with you. And look at these views. It's insane. This guy's still crushing it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Rob is a woodworker, attorney, and he debunked this the bed thing that ended up being used by Camille, and I don't know if you're going to admit it, but she definitely must have watched, and she definitely changed over the week to incorporate your video, Rob. How did it feel to see Camille Vasquez using your data, your breaking point, the way that you proved that Johnny couldn't have kicked that? It was clearly used by a knife. It's the only way that happened. How did it feel when you heard her using your evidence?
So I'm not going to speculate whether she did or did not use it, but great minds do think alike. I'm going to say that.
Yes, okay.
And what I will say is the reaction. So LawTube is a thing. Hashtag LawTube. Everyone else that's been following this trial from the beginning, Legal Bites, Ricada Law, Emily D. Baker, all of the above, saw this happen, called BS the second I heard the testimony, and I was encouraged by all of them to create this video. I have no idea how I got into this, no idea how it got brought to me, but I made this video at 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, released it, and then to see Camille Vasquez actually lay out the questions exactly as I envisioned in my mind if I was doing that cross-examination, and then to see the reaction from all of my friends on LawTube, raising arms and yelling and screaming and just applauding as this was being brought out, man, that was, I don't know if there's anything better than that, because it was so cool.
Yeah, you put a lot of work into this, man. I was really impressed by the video. I know my viewers were too. And if you haven't already, go subscribe to Law and Lumber. I can't wait to see what else you got going. I hope you're gonna do some actual woodworking stuff at some point too. But obviously we're deep in this case. You're gonna see more law stuff going on. But so thank you for that. But my gosh, I got to get to the topic of this video because you were in the court. Now you tried to go a few days. Sadly, you didn't get to go the day that she brought it up. It's so tragic. Some idiot line cutters got you out, so you didn't get to be there in person with Camille, but you were there in spirit, my friend. But you were there. You got to see this jury, and you've been with a lot of other law tubers who have been remarking and commenting on this jury, the reactions of the judge, things we don't really get to see from home. And you were also nice enough to bring out this amazing breakdown, which has been on a few of your channels you've been on, and your channel as well. But here it is. Here is the jury, guys. Can you tell us, what was your first thought when you sort of gazed upon them, of sort of shock or surprise?
The age. So first of all, to all the viewers, this is just general demographic information for the jury. This isn't identifying a single juror. Please don't try to. Do not try to ID them. Talk to them, confront them, period, end of story. That is jury tampering. You will be prosecuted and you will be jailed. But demographic information is fine. So the demographics of this jury caught me off guard kind of from the beginning. People had been saying it was a young jury, but I didn't really, you hear that and you're going, how young, really? No, it's a young jury. Late 20s, mid 20s, early 30s, a lot of young individuals on this jury, and that caught me off guard right off the bat.
Yeah, you got 20s, 30s. So I didn't expect there's more than half of an Asian demographic on the thing, which is interesting, and mostly male. Now, again, there's going to be, two of these people are going to get knocked out by the end to ultimately make the call. Will they know? Will they all deliberate and then just two of their votes don't matter? How does that work?
No, only 7 go back, and the blank spaces that you're seeing in this chart are jurors that have been excused for other reasons. I know we lost one early in the trial. I'm not sure why we only impaneled 10, but these are actually blank seats, empty seats that are open in the box when you're sitting in that courtroom.
So they need 7 at a civil trial, right? There's 9 people, so two backups who don't know they're backups, correct?
Correct. In a defamation case, you need 7, and it needs to be unanimous. And no, the selection is not made until they are actually finally charged with jury instructions and sent back into the deliberation room.
Before we break down the reactions, actually, I have actual jury questions. So you said it has to be unanimous. Now, do they fight like 12 Angry Men style until they come out unanimous? Or if they can't be unanimous and they've made their votes, well, then he just loses?
I mean, here's the thing. The judge is trying to get a resolution of the case. A hung jury means no resolution. It means that it can be brought again. It's a mistrial. So the judge is encouraging the jurors and charging them with this understanding that they are to do their best, their very best, to reach a unanimous decision. And the judge has the power of time. The judge can basically say, I'm going to hold you for 24, 48, 72 hours. I don't believe that you guys can't get through this deadlock. And the judge kind of sticks you in the room and says, figure it out. So the first thing the jury does when they go back into the deliberation room is they elect a foreperson. That foreperson is in charge of taking that first vote. And then they start negotiating back and forth, and they do polling along the way, and then talk through the evidence. They can request that evidence be sent back to them, and they can review it along the way. So 12 Angry Men is probably the best analogy you can get. Now, that's extreme. It usually takes an extreme holdout to get there. But the odd thing about these jury decisions, especially when you require unanimity, is if you look at the stats on this, unanimity is actually reached a large percentage of the time, mostly because at the end of the day, when the evidence is there, the jury has all seen it, and it's easier to convince a lot of people to come on board with a decision that the majority of them see. So you get a lot of unanimous verdicts.
Okay, interesting. But you suspect that they're gonna make sure they all have agreed on something. Otherwise, they're hung is really what's going to end up happening. And they only have a day, right? That it's next Friday is sort of closing and deliberation.
So next Friday is for closing and deliberation. Now, this courtroom, this courthouse, it runs like a machine. You guys have probably, if you've been watching the trial at all, you've seen that the judge has kind of reminded the parties of the time along the way. And people have been speculative from the beginning. Even LawTube, when this trial first started, I said this thing would be 6 weeks, and they all said it's going to go longer. And I said, no, not in this courthouse, not with this judge. It's going to be 6 weeks. She's going to cut them short. Like, it doesn't matter where you are, you're done. But as far as the jury is concerned, the jury is the finder of fact here. She's not going to push them too hard. She will hold them that afternoon, and if they don't have a decision, my thought is she's going to bring them back on Tuesday, because it's Memorial Day weekend. She'll bring them back on Tuesday and put them in a room and make them decide. And it might carry on for a few days. It's a ton of evidence to go through. I mean, heck, we've got audio that's 5 or 6 hours in length, and they've only been playing snapshots in the courtroom. If I'm a juror and I hear a 2-minute snapshot of a 5-hour audio, I'm going back in that jury deliberation room, and if I have a question, I'm saying, play the dang audio.
Do you think there's a version of this where they don't need to hear anything, that they're like, I just don't believe her, and that they maybe all sort of agree on that? Because I'm with you. There's so much stuff to go through. It's kind of shocking she's thrusting it to them on the Friday of a 3-day weekend. And then, is she going to she can't lock them up for the weekend, right? She's going to have to give them a break, which seems even more sketchy. They got to sit with it longer.
So to push back on the premise, can't lock them up for the weekend? She can. I don't think she will. She can lock them up, but she won't. She'll bring them back on Tuesday. And the thing is, the idea that they're going to go back in there and they're going to make a decision in 3 hours, that's a big ask. And what's funny about this is all of LawTube, and for your viewers who don't know what LawTube is, look it up, look up the hashtag on Twitter and follow everyone else in there. It's about 20 or 30 attorneys, and we all kind of have our own channels. We all disagree on this. Some of us are very impassioned that these jurors are going to make a decision before the end of the day. Some of us are saying there's no way until the end of next week or the end of the following week. So we're all practicing attorneys and we have disagreements. That's fine. Let's just see how this plays out.
That's what's really interesting about this case. We've talked to our own lawyer, Christopher. He's like, there's no way to guarantee where this is going to go. It could go any way at this point, and that's where it is. So, but let's try to guess with your thoughts. You've seen the jury. Who is this jury? Who do you think they're leaning on based on your limited experience? Did you sense any reactions or sleepiness or frustrations or any tells from the jurors that you were able to see to sort of see where they're leaning?
So the one observation that me and whoever else was in the courtroom, Runkle of the Bailey and DUI guy on YouTube, go like and subscribe to them as well. But when we were in there, this is the most stoic jury I've ever seen. They are stone-faced. They don't give you anything. Like, you really don't see very much. So you're looking at micro expressions or little tells that aren't tells, because jury prediction it's not possible. Anyone who says I can predict the jury is lying to you. That said, there are some things that indicate someone's siding one way or another. Juror number 9, bottom right, he's our biggest tell from everything he does as far as expressions. For example, putting his hand on his face when Elaine is talking, to looking sideways at Amber rather than looking at her directly when she's testifying. It's giving you suggestions that he's pretty much in the camp of, I don't know if it's pro Johnny or if it's I don't believe Amber, but I think either one of those is the same camp. He's our biggest easy guess he's our biggest easy guess. Everyone else is kind of a mixed bag, and they sway going one way or the other based on the testimony they're hearing.
Did you sense they were annoyed by Amber staring at them? Because that's the biggest thing we've all been sort of reacting to online, is the fact that it just, I know you're supposed to, I guess, they, try to talk to the jury, get them involved, but she does it so intensely that it's pretty off-putting, no?
Well, and let me give your viewers some context here. That courtroom and the line, let's start with the line. The line itself is so pro-Depp that it is, you would almost be afraid to announce that you're pro-Amber in that line. If you did announce you were, you'd be ridiculed, ostracized, yelled at. I mean, it's like mob rule. It's like Lord of the Flies. We don't have a conch that's out there that we pass around to say who controls the floor, but it's pretty close. So walking into that courtroom, Amber Heard knows that entire gallery is pro-Depp, and she doesn't have any allies out there. Well, there's not a lot of places to look. So if you're looking at a gallery when you're testifying about something emotional, do you want to find a face that's looking at you like they hate you? No. Do you want to look straight at your attorney? Also a bad look. There's limited places. So when she's on the stand and she's looking, you'll see her to glance up, left, right, all of the above. I will say the looking at the jury is very off-putting, and the way that she looks at them is something that I have found rather curious. Andy, you got a mouse you can throw over those numbers while I talk about this?
Sure.
Yeah. So number 9.
Yes.
She knows he is oppositional to her. So when she's on the stand, she will look above him to numbers 4 and 5. And if they meet her eyes, she'll deadlock on them. If they don't meet her eyes, I'm not kidding. If they don't meet her eyes, she tracks down to 8 and 7. Those are her alternates. And then if they don't meet her eyes, she goes to 6. And then finally, she'll go to 1, 2, or 3, like all of those guys.
Wow, so she doesn't like the Asians, is what you're saying.
No, it's just they are naturally.
Sorry, I'm just trying to.
Away
I don't
from
like her.
her.
I'm trying to make it more. No, I'm just joking.
I know. I get it. Trust me, it's not. This is not the first time I've explained this and had that joke. Everyone has had that joke. It's honestly just a natural progression because
she's looking down, and then she's moving to whoever's giving her the contact. Got it. Now, I heard a rumor that some of them have actually turned their chairs away from her. Have you heard this too?
They have, and during some of her direct testimony. So for the viewers who won't follow any trials, on direct examination, what you want to see is a jury that's aiming their chairs at your witness. For direct examination, the witness is the star, the attorney is the proxy. They are the puppet. They basically they ask the question and then they pitch it to your star, and your star acts it out or says their story. So you want the jury fully engaged. You want shoulders facing that way, and you want the chair facing that way. Well, during some of Amber Heard's direct examination, all of the chairs were facing the podium where Elaine Bredehoff was standing. And the jury was looking at Amber answering like this, and back to Elaine, and like this, and then back to Elaine. It was only select parts of the testimony where the jury actually turned to fully engage her. So
that's not good for her, right? Like, because the whole point, from what we've gathered, the point of the best version is like they want to sort of be the flies on the wall and sit there and watch. But instead, when the witness is constantly looking, and Amber does it in such a way where it's like Camille will ask a question and then she won't just talk a little bit to Camille and then occasionally look over to for flavor. It's always like, what's yes, and then it's a really bad look.
It's the immediate look, and it is frustrating to see as an attorney because you wish that your client would take a second before doing that.
Right. And like, why wouldn't Elaine or somebody like get the note? It's clear they're watching. It's clear they're doing things, right? Why would no one have picked up on the note after day one of like, whoa, you were too intense on the gaze of the jury, slow it down?
Well, it's curious that you mentioned that between days 1 and day 2 of her testifying, because there is an observation that can be made about the differences in those two testimonial experiences, both of which are direct examination. Day 1, I would challenge you to go back and look at that video. Day 1, Amber Heard she is upright, and she is almost aggressive in nature, and she is telling her story, and she is projecting out, and she is open and there. So I think she either felt the feedback or got I'm not going to speculate, but the second day she was testifying earlier this week, the day that I was in court, you saw the turtle look, the look of, this is what a lot of victims do when they're testifying about things that they've been through, traumatic experiences. They turtle. It's a safety mechanism. Well, day 1, Amber Heard, up. Day 2, Amber Heard, turtle. She changed her body expressions a lot between the beginning of her direct and the end of her direct. And that really, it was off-putting to me, and I think some of the jurors might have picked up on it.
But she didn't change the eye contact. I mean, she might have tried, but the eye contact staring down was
Yeah.
pretty similar on both days, which to me is even the worst issue. But good catch. So overall, sort of any other takeaways or surprises that you think we should be aware of? I mean, it sounds like they're stone-faced. They're told to be stone-faced too, right? They're not supposed to give big reactions. Correct?
Yeah, no, and the jury has been very, very good. Juror number 2 likes to not doze off, but he's probably our biggest teller of the group. His body language kind of displays how he feels about the testimony. If it's not really great, he kind of slumps his shoulders and leans forward, and then he's just like out of it until something perks him up. Now, what was interesting about that one was when Camille started crossing, he visibly got more upright, and actually you saw him take the pen cap off of his pen and start physically writing notes. And I was like, oh shit, okay, here we go.
So is that a sign of he's over it? All right, let me get to the real dirt here.
It was, so that's what I've kind of taken from this jury from the beginning. I was telling you about how they've positioned their chairs. There are times when they did position their chairs faced at Amber. And it was, I think what the jury has done is they've taken these 14 incidents, and they've narrowed them down to 2 or 3 that they think are important. I think Australia is in there. I think the May 21st of 2016 incident is in there, because those 2 incidents, whenever testimony is received about those incidents, they are positioned at the witness. So I think to them, those are the big ones.
Interesting. I mean, that's a smart way to do it, I guess, because there's so much they're trying to. Elaine's team and Amber just they're scattershotting as much as they can in this sort of distraction mode. But it does. You're right. There seem to be picking. All right. Well, let's focus on these important ones that both sides are really addressing the most. Really interesting insight. I thank you for offering it to us. I guess you've answered all the questions I have. There's nothing really, but I'm trying to. There's no way that you can tell how quick they're going to decide this. There's just no way to know. It's going to take something, obviously, time for them to gather this information. But typically, when you're, actually, I have a question. Would you have told Amber to look less?
I don't. There is controlling your witness, and then there is over controlling your witness. And then there is the witness that cannot be controlled. Amber is somewhere in that mix, and I will leave your viewers to decide where she falls. I'm not going to tell them one way or the other. I have an opinion. They can form their own based on what they see. That's their right. They can do that.
Nice, polite way to do it. You guys can check out Law and Lumber over on YouTube. Look them up. It's just Law Lumber, youtube.com/Law Lumber. I'll put the link in the description as well so you can find them. Rob, please come back. Join one of our lives. I would love to get your insight if you're down. We'll be here next week. What do you think? Is he going to win? Is he going to lose? I want your gut. On the record, what is it going to be?
Not going to give you on the record, but I will give you this. I've got one more LawTube person who's going to the hearing or going to the trial for the next 2 days, who's been there for the last 3. That's Ian Runkle Bailey.
Yep.
He's committed to sitting in there for the rest of it, and I will be in there for rebuttal, which I imagine is going to be fireworks. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how this trial goes.
No answer. He's smart. He's like, I'm not doing it. Not going on the record, because it really could. We could acknowledge it could go either way at this point. It's really up to the eyes of the jury.
It really could. It really could. And today's testimony was a great example of that. Today, some of your viewers might not like this. Today was a good day for Amber Heard, at least for some points. So this can go either way.
Who's performed the best from a legal standpoint, defense or Johnny's team?
There was nothing more artful or beautiful than to watch Camille Vasquez's cross-examination of Amber Heard. She, at that point in time, and I talked about this with other people, lawyers and clients are drawn to each other because they kind of are extensions of one another. People are talking about this whole, is there a Camille and Johnny Depp connection? There's not. What it is that Camille is the extension of Johnny Depp. And when she stands up at that podium, she is a sword and shield for him. He has been sitting there for the last however many weeks listening to all this crap at a table where he can't talk. And his attorney has to face that with him. And she gets up, and what does she do but start throwing daggers, throwing lightning bolts, and actually speaking on his behalf. That's the chemistry you guys see. That's a damn good lawyer, and that cross was freaking magnificent.
Yeah, she believes him. Right? It's not just a believe I'm hired as your attorney. You get a vibe that she really is on his side and wants to take this woman down. And I think we can all feel it. So really well said. Get some more insight from Rob over at Law and Lumber. Thank you so much for being here. Go hit that subscribe button for both of our channels. Hit the bell for all alerts. Smash the like button and leave the comment down below. So wonderful to have you guys all supporting all these amazing channels on LawTube here and elsewhere. We got you covered, so stay tuned here on Popcorned Planet. Thanks for watching.